Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about how you're going to be assessed this semester in linear algebra. Um, for some of you, this may be a somewhat new experience into the realm of what we call competency-based learning. Um, we will be looking at your work in linear algebra through a couple of different lenses. On one hand, some of it will look familiar for those of you that are used to kind of a points-based system, because most of the assignments have points assigned to them. Different parts will be worth different amounts, and you will get feedback in addition to how you're scored on that. But some of the feedback that you'll be getting will be in the context of our core competencies. There are a number of them, and as you've been looking through this module, hopefully you've had a chance to read up on the competencies in GOA. There's several different ones, and we're going to just focus on a couple of them. Doesn't mean I won't comment on or give you some feedback on the other ones, but in order to not muddy the waters too much, we're going to focus on a couple in particular. Specifically, going to be looking at communication. And by that, I mean like communication and empathizing, so that this is the part about being able to talk to your peers around the world and wherever you may be, and being able to communicate easily that way. We'll also be looking at the learn independently, which is a big part of the online environment, because as much as I'll be kind of directing what you do, we will never be in a class together. So I'll be looking for and giving you feedback on how you are approaching that in terms of what you're doing on a regular basis, how often you're checking into the Canvas site, whether or not you're using me or your peers for as resources, and to what extent you are learning to do that on your own, which is a big part of online learning. And the last thing, and this has to do with is kind of related to our course as well, but it's specifically leveraging digital tools. Some of that will be in the broader sense of just creating videos, posting work, taking pictures, being able to discuss things with other people with little difficulty. But those are the ones I'll be looking at. Primarily from the core competencies. But then we'll also be looking at, and I'll be giving you feedback on a couple that are math specific. Now, some of the work that you'll be getting back with regards to the math is going to be, again, focused solely on, I'll be looking at your work, and it'll be graded like you're probably used to having things graded in a math class. But I will also be looking at a couple of competencies, in particular modeling, because we're going to be using linear algebra for some applications throughout the semester, and so modeling is a really good place to give you feedback. And this involves, understanding the context of the problems that you're working on, what you're going to do with them, how do you use linear algebra to set up a solution, and then how do you actually evaluate that. And then the other piece that we'll look at is what I call mathematical communication, which is a little bit different than the GOA communication. What I mean by the mathematical communication is we're talking about how well do you communicate what you know about the mathematics. It has to do with how attentive are you to your audience, how clear is the justification for your work. And are you thorough in the way that you present that work? And so you'll get feedback in that as well, and we'll be posting some rubrics so that you can follow along with that. I certainly want you to, if you've never done this before, some of that feedback may feel a little different, and I want you to reach out and ask questions if you ever have any. And as you're going through this orientation and reading more about competencies, then I strongly encourage you to ask questions if you have them. And again, I look forward to working with you this semester.